In 2020, Lin Xiaoran saw a girl fall into the water and bravely jumped into the water to save someone. Unfortunately, the rescue method was not effective, and they were tightly hugged by the drowning person and buried together underwater. The soul pierced onto Lin Xiaoran, who had the same name and surname in the 1980s. She, who has never been in a relationship before, was divorced and became an abandoned woman at the beginning. What's wrong with the abandoned woman? She's not afraid. Having nothing to do to earn a little money, abusing scumbags and gaining the favor of aloof men. She, who had never enjoyed the love of her parents in the previous life, is satisfied in this life. A love she couldn't have had in the previous life, but in this life she has been in it. Beautiful and sweet keywords of the novel. 80 Deserted Wife Sweet and Wild without pop-ups, 80 Deserted Wife Sweet and Wild Complete Collection Download, 80 Deserted Wife Sweet and Wild Latest Chapter Reading. Chapter 1. Travel Through Divorce. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Travel Through Divorce. His pain. When Lin Xiaoran woke up, she found herself curled up on the hard mud ground, with a severe pain in her heart and mouth. How did he come back to life even though he was already dead? Before she could figure out the situation, an annoying man's voice came, "Don't pretend to be dead, get up for me. Go talk to me about divorce proof." Following the sound, a man with a pure appearance, without hiding his disgust, was ready to kick her again at any moment. The good woman didn't suffer the loss in front of her. Lin Xiaoran reached out a hand, waved it hard a few times, and suppressed the pain in her chest. "Don't kick, let me take a break." As soon as I spoke, I realized that not only did I feel pain in my heart, but also in my chest and ribs. She remembers dying on August 16, 2020. At that time, I saw a girl fall into the water, and she jumped into the water without hesitation to save someone. Unfortunately, the rescue method was not effective, and they were tightly hugged by the drowning person and buried together underwater. Before her death, she secretly cursed the heavens for being blind and not having a good relationship yet, so she died like this. At this point, many memories that do not belong to oneself appear in the mind, quickly merging with the original memory. She confirmed that she had traveled. Now, I want to curse the heavens even more. Now, let her come back to life again. Love hasn't started yet, and the beginning is divorce. The original owner had a deck of bad cards in his hand. The original owner, also known as Lin Xiaoran, felt such pain because he was kicked by the man in front of him. Lin Xiaoran couldn't help but curse inwardly, "Men who hit women are all scumbags." However, the original owner is not a good woman either. The husband of the original owner is called Ren Feng. Before getting married, the original owner knew that Ren Feng had a crush and was crying and making a fuss to marry him. Coincidentally, Ren Feng's father, Ren Daqiang, was hospitalized and needed surgery fees. The original owner immediately convinced his parents to give Ren Daqiang 600 yuan for treatment. Taking people's money and being soft-handed, Ren Feng's parents were in charge and allowed him to marry the original owner and enter the house. However, the original protagonist's voice is not very good, and he has a face full of youthful bumps. As soon as Ren Feng looked at the face of the original owner, he would think of the contrast with his first love. He refused to settle down and even found a reason to take the college entrance exam. He lived in a high school in the county and came back once a month, showing no warmth or coldness towards the original owner. The original owner, however, remained steadfast and brought various things from his mother's house to his mother-in-law's house every month, and even brought money back to give to Ren Fenghua. "The problem is that my mother's family is not wealthy, and the original owner never thought about taking away all the good things without leaving anything. What should my mother's family do?" Meanwhile, Ren Feng despised the original owner while spending the money and things he brought from his mother's family. The original owner still rushed to be kind to Ren Feng. Today is August 16, 1980, the 1-year anniversary of the original owner's marriage to Ren Feng. Yesterday, Ren Feng received a college admission letter, and today he is forcing his former employer to divorce. The original owner refused to leave, so Ren Feng kicked him hard in the heart. At first, this kick did not kill the original owner, but later Ren Feng's words that made him nauseous and unable to sleep or eat when he saw her made the original owner angry. Lin Xiaoran couldn't help but sigh inwardly. How much did the original owner love Ren Feng in order to be infuriated to death? Lin Xiaoran didn't want to look at this scumbag who used his wife's money and despised her for a moment. She thought of her innocence and decided to leave. After regaining her freedom, she had a wider range of choices for men. In the last life, she studied with an old Chinese doctor. She was not proficient in acupuncture and moxibustion, but she was very proficient in making plasters and pills. There was no problem in eliminating the youth beans on her face. Lin Xiaoran struggled and weakly stood up, then spoke again. As long as your family pays back all the money my parents gave you, I'll go talk to you about the divorce certificate. Let's calculate it at 1,000 yuan. In my impression, 1,000 yuan is a large amount in this era, and 3 adults earning a year's worth of work points can add up to more than 1,000 yuan. I secretly sighed in my heart that the original owner was really willing to pay so much money to subsidize my husband's family. At the same time, take a look at the furniture in the room, including a large jujube bed, dressing table, wardrobe, sewing machine. All of which are her dowry. It was my mother's family who borrowed several hundred yuan from the collective in advance last year to purchase it. So he added, I'll take all the dowry with me. When it comes to money, Ren Feng immediately hesitates. But Ren Feng, his mother Zhao Meihua, points at Lin Xiaoran and tells him off. You can take the dowry with you, but do you want money? Since you married into my Ren family, you've been eating, wearing, and living with us. Last winter, you were caught stealing an old hen from our neighbor's house, and you pushed Grandma Li's neighbor. The old man hit his head on the wall, and my family paid 500 yuan for medical expenses. A couple of months ago, you stole peaches from the commune and were caught. Ignoring the situation, you pushed down the staff at the peach orchard, causing injuries and being chased home. My family spent 500 yuan to help you settle the situation. Are you still willing to ask for money? Lin Xiaoran carefully recalled that the original owner had indeed done these things. Can't help but blush for the original owner. However, there are reasons behind all of them. Grandma Li, the neighbor, advised her that Ren Feng was not a good match and that she should leave Ren Feng as soon as possible. The original owner couldn't hear anyone say that Ren Feng was not good, so he went to steal the old hen from Grandma Li's house. As for Grandma Li's fall, it wasn't the original owner's fault. Grandma Li was in a hurry to chase after the original owner and slipped her foot before hitting her head on the wall. And the original owner deliberately said that he pushed Granny Li in order to demonstrate his strength. The original intention was to let others know that anyone who dares to say anything bad about Ren Gang, regardless of gender, age, is just looking for a fight. The original owner stole peaches from the orchard because the daughter of the uncle in charge of the orchard had a joke with Ren Feng, and was seen by the original owner. He scolded him and went to the door, hitting the immature peaches with a bamboo hook. As for knocking down the Taoyuan staff, it was also intentional by the original owner to show his prowess. In fact, there are many things like this. As for really losing so much money, it is obvious that Zhao Meihua is too exaggerated. Because Zhao Meihua did not know the truth of the matter, but believed the words intentionally said by the original owner. Lin Xiaoran didn't want to waste her breath anymore because she had the idea of asking the Ren family to take the initiative to lose money. Go and get the divorce certificate, she said. I don't want to say anything more. After successfully obtaining the divorce certificate, she wants the Ren family to pay the full price. Upon hearing these words, Ren Feng's disgust towards Lin Xiaoran disappeared from his eyes and he said, let's go. The marriage certificate is in his pocket. As long as Lin Xiaoran safely divorces the marriage, it will no longer affect his future. In order to get his divorce certificate quickly, Ren Feng went out to borrow a bicycle and rode Lin Xiaoran towards the town. Lin Xiaoran sat in the back seat, sneering, and Ren Feng didn't look at all guilty. Before, Ren Feng attacked the original owner. The original owner not only did not go back to his mother's house to complain, but also tried to please Ren Feng with money. The original owner is a love brain that cannot be clearly grasped. Ren Feng kicked the original owner, causing pain to Lin Xiaoran who had traveled through. Lin Xiaoran wants to beat up Ren Feng now. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Private First. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Private First. But currently, Lin Xiaoran doesn't have much strength on his body and can't hurt this scumbag. Once you get well, sooner or later you'll have to kick yourself back. Ren Feng is in a good mood while riding a bike and singing. The road ahead is rugged and uneven, with Ren Feng riding faster and bumping even harder. This jolt made Lin Xiaoran feel even more painful, with a feeling of depression not being able to come out. Stop. Ren Feng braked slowly and stopped. What's wrong? Do you want to go back on your word? Lin Xiaoran didn't have a good face. Lin Xiaoran covered her chest and stumbled to the ground. Never back out. My chest hurts badly and I need to slow down. You ride your bike to town first and wait. I'm waiting here for the passing carriage to town. After speaking, my chest hurt even more. Lin Xiaoran crouched down in pain. Okay then. If you dare to fool me, I'll kill you when you get home. Ren Feng dropped this sentence, got on his bike, and quickly pedaled a few times. Lin Xiaoran muttered softly, riding so fast. Damn it. Be careful not to fall and kill you. As soon as the words fell, there was only a bang, followed by the sound of the bicycle wheels spinning. Lin Xiaoran couldn't help but secretly praise the heavens for helping her punish Ren Feng. Ren Feng's right arm happened to hit a large stone on the roadside, and his right leg was hit by a bicycle. The double pain in his arm and leg made him afraid to move. No one passed by for a moment. Lin Xiaoran, come and help me up. Seeing Ren Feng's disheveled appearance, Lin Xiaoran was in a super good mood. Suddenly, she felt less pain on her body, but she emphasized, I feel pain in my chest, and ribs. I need to take it slow. She just wanted Ren Feng to think that she was seriously injured. As soon as Ren Feng saw that he couldn't count on Lin Xiaoran, he had to slowly get up and sit on a large stone, waiting for passers-by to save him. After a few minutes, Lin Xiaoran covered her heart and slowly moved to the side of the road, half leaning against the stone on the side of the road. Although her medical skills are not very good, she can tell that her body has been kicked out of an internal injury. This injury is within a controllable range. About 10 minutes later, 7 or 8 villagers passed by in horse-drawn carts. Ren Feng told the villagers that there was an accident while cycling. Lin Xiaoran didn't say much, and when he arrived at the hospital, he could easily slap Ren Feng in the face with a check. Up. Lin Xiaoran entrusted one of them to go to the neighboring village to report to his mother's family, and Ren Feng also entrusted another person to report to the Ren family. The others carried Ren Feng and Lin Xiaoran onto the carriage and sent them to the hospital in the town. The doctor diagnosed that Ren Feng had a fracture in his right arm and a bone fracture in his right leg. And Lin Xiaoran needs to be hospitalized for further examination before the diagnostic results can be obtained. Ren Feng brought money and paid for his examination and treatment fees, without caring about Lin Xiaoran. Lin Xiaoran only has 2 cents in his pocket, which is not enough. The money he usually has is enough to subsidize Ren Feng, a white-eyed wolf. My mother-in-law's family will definitely not be able to count on it, so I can only wait for my mother-in-law's family to come and help pay the fees. When her mother-in-law Zhao Meihua hurried to the hospital, Ren Feng's arms and legs were fixed and wrapped with wooden boards. And Lin Xiaoran was sitting in a wheelchair, waiting for his family to pay the examination fee. Zhao Meihua clamored that her family didn't have enough money to hospitalize Lin Xiaoran for examination and treatment, only paying for Ren Feng's medical expenses. After confirming with the doctor that Renfeng could be moved with a wooden board, Zhao Meihua urged Renfeng to quickly go and get a divorce certificate from Lin Xiaoran. Afraid of getting involved with Lin Xiaoran again, I spent more money on the Ren family. The doctor came forward to prove that Lin Xiaoran has some internal organs problems and is not suitable for moving now. Still unable to stop Zhao Meihua. Quickly, Zhao Meihua found someone to lift Renfeng and Lin Xiaoran onto a flatbed truck outside the hospital. This made Lin Xiaoran even more determined. Today, he won't take out 1,000 yuan from Zhao Meihua. She has the same surname as Zhao Meihua. Lin Xiaoran's parents also received the news and rushed over. To argue with Zhao Meihua, after hearing Lin Xiaoran's line, "I can hold on, if I divorce early, I can go back to my mother's house and live a good life," I went all the way to protect my daughter and pull the divorce certificate. Lin Xiaoran knew very well that without mentioning the divorce certificate, the matter of Renfeng hitting her was just a family matter. Just pull the divorce certificate and it will be easy to handle. Half an hour later, Lin Xiaoran and Renfeng received divorce certificates. Half an hour later, they were sent to different wards. Lin Xiaoran's father, Lin Ming, helped Lin Xiaoran pay for hospitalization and examination fees, and learned from the doctor that his daughter's heart and mouth were injured. Lin Ming walked into Lin Xiaoran's ward and saw his wife Wang Qinhua crying while holding her daughter. "I only learned about my daughter's injury when I asked her earlier. Turning around, I want to go to Renfeng's ward and kick his heart." The weak voice of Lin Xiaoran came, "Dad, go help me report the case and say Renfeng hit me with an internal injury. It would be best if you could inquire if there are any injury assessors in town. In this era, injury assessors are relatively scarce, and it would be good to have one in each city. Not to mention in the town, there are basically none." But Lin Xiaoran still hopes that her father can ask by the way. There is really no injury appraiser, even a security officer can deter any family members. The Ren family definitely doesn't want Renfeng to keep a record, so they will naturally use money to solve it. Make sure to get back the money that her parents used to indirectly subsidize the Ren family through her. Lin Ming immediately understood that once he went to hit Renfeng, he couldn't explain why. He clenched his fist and let go. "Okay, girl, I'll listen to you. Turn around and leave." Wang Qinhua used a wheelchair to push Lin Xiaoran for an examination. When security personnel Zhang Zhe arrived at the hospital, Lin Xiaoran's examination results came out, including chest wall contusions and ruptured blood vessels in the chest, causing pleural effusion. The doctor said that if this injury is not fixed, it will result in death. When Zhang Zhe inquired about the situation with Lin Xiaoran, a tall and well-dressed man stood beside him. Lin Xiaoran only glanced at him roughly and felt that this person had a temperament of not being close to strangers. Subconsciously, "I dare not look at him again." After Zhang Zhe understood the situation, the man whispered a few words to Zhang Zhe and he nodded. Afterwards, head straight to Renfeng's ward to take him away. Lin Xiaoran understood that it was the man who helped her speak. It's just that man doesn't want to accept this favor, that's why he's so low-key. Zhao Meihua quickly apologized with a smile. "Misunderstandings, they are all misunderstandings. This is a family matter, and there is no need for the public to come forward." Zhang Zhe looked serious and said, "I just asked, Lin Xiaoran and Renfeng have already divorced, and this is not a family matter. My friend who came with me has learned injury assessment, and once the injury level is determined, Renfeng will definitely have to go in." Renfeng repeatedly admitted his mistake and guaranteed compensation to Lin Xiaoran's satisfaction. Zhang Zhe went to ask Lin Xiaoran for his opinion. Lin Xiaoran thanked Zhang Zhe and chose to claim compensation. So Zhang Zhe asked both of them to go private first, and if they couldn't solve it, they would come to him again. Zhang Zhe and his friends left together. Now Zhao Meihua doesn't say that her family has no money. Proactively use a wheelchair to push Renfeng to Lin Xiaoran's ward and discuss compensation. Lin Xiaoran insisted on asking for 1,000 yuan, but as for her internal injury, she was not worried. Because with memories from the previous life, she can cure it herself. It's true that Zhao Meihua wants to use money to solve this matter, but she doesn't want so much money. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Compensation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Compensation. Zhao Meihua made an effort to look like I came to see you. Lin Xiaoran looked up to you and said, Lin Xiaoran, you and my son fell off the bike by accident. Your internal injury was from the fall, not from my son's kick. In theory, our family doesn't need to compensate you at all. Wang Chenhua only has a daughter like Lin Xiaoran. Even if my daughter used to be unreliable, she still treasures her very much. Unable to listen to Zhao Meihua's reckless behavior, he immediately tore her hair and said, doctors and security personnel believe that my daughter's heart has been kicked and she has been injured internally. How could it be an accident in your mouth? Poor my daughter, for all this year, she has been beating her heart and lungs at your house. Are you doing this to her? If you dare to hit my daughter, why don't you admit it? It's useless not to admit it. Zhao Meihua gritted her teeth in pain and said, Wang Chenhua, let go first. I didn't say I won't compensate. Ren Feng wanted to come forward and help, but he was afraid that his right arm would break again, so he sat in a wheelchair and remained motionless. Wang Chenhua thought of Zhao Meihua's initial refusal to pay the examination fee to Lin Xiaoran, which made her teeth itch with hatred. She vigorously stroked her hair before letting go. Zhao Meihua covered her head and shouted in pain, Wang Chenhua, I want to sue you. Wang Chenhua pinched her waist and said, let's sue. Anyway, I don't have college students at home, and I'm not afraid to keep a record. You can sue me casually. If you sue me, my daughter will accuse your son of plotting to kill someone. When the time comes, not only will your son's chance to go to college disappear, but he will also have to wear the prison. Who are you scaring? Zhao Meihua said, but her heart was very uneasy. She only has Ren Feng as a lone child, and her son's hard work in getting into college cannot ruin his future. Just as she was thinking about how to make a comeback, Ren Feng gently tugged at her sleeve with his left hand, gesturing for Zhao Meihua to squat down. Zhao Meihua squatted down halfway. Ren Feng whispered to her, Mom, let's prioritize my future. Just now, those two members of the public family said that if it's a kick injury, then it's a kick injury. There's nothing unexpected. This time, let's accept it. When I graduate from college and find a good job, I'll give you 1,000 yuan per year. This successfully made Zhao Meihua compromise. Zhao Meihua reluctantly took out a dirty handkerchief that was not neatly folded from her pocket, opened layer by layer, revealing the money inside. Count out 500 yuan and hand it to Lin Xiaoran. This was brought out by Zhao Meihua from home before leaving. The messenger said that Ren Feng was seriously injured, so she brought all the savings from the family. I was supposed to pay for my son's treatment, but now I have to give it to Lin Xiaoran. He said painfully, I'll give you 500 first, and I'll go back tonight to borrow the remaining money. I'll bring it over early tomorrow morning. No matter how hard you don't want to give, for the sake of your son's future, you have to give. At this moment, Lin Xiaoran was hanging a bottle and didn't pick it up. Instead, she looked at Wang Chenhua and said, Mom, I'm sick. Please keep it for me. After taking the medicine, the chest pain eased a lot and I also gained some strength when speaking. Wang Chenhua immediately followed suit and, while receiving the money, demanded that Zhao Meihua pay an IOU. Zhao Meihua obediently wrote the IOU and handed it to Wang Chenhua. With a displeased expression, she took Ren Feng back to the ward. After only Lin Xiaoran and her parents were left in the ward, Lin Xiaoran said apologetically, Mom and Dad, I used to be the one who didn't understand and never thought about you. I subsidized all our money to the Ren family, but it won't happen in the future. When we get all 1,000 yuan, let's repay the debt first. In my impression, my mother's family owes a lot of debt to their original owner. Lin Ming also borrowed the hospitalization fee this time. Perhaps it was the lingering emotions of the original owner that still lingered, and Lin Xiaoran felt a hint of guilt in her heart. Especially when I saw the rough and cracked hands of Lin Ming and his wife, as well as the patched clothes on their bodies, I felt even more guilty. In this era, even if most people wear patched clothes, there are at most 1 or 2 patches, and they will never have more than a dozen patches like the ones on the Lin Ming couple. Wang Chenhua wiped away her tears and said, "Xiaoran, I'll keep the money to treat your illness first. It's not entirely your fault for the past, but also your father and I didn't distinguish the true face of the Ren family. Let you marry and let you suffer so much injustice. My daughter used to go home and ask for money to subsidize the Ren family, but she didn't want to object. But as soon as he thought that Ren Feng was a student, he gritted his teeth and borrowed a lot of money to take away from his daughter. I had hoped that Ren Feng could be admitted to college and his daughter could also live a good life with him, but who would have thought it would be like this?" Lin Ming lightly patted the back of Lin Xiaoran's hand and said, "Your mother is right. I'll treat your illness with this money first. Your mother and I will slowly repay those debts. My daughter has grown up and is more sensible. In the future, my parents will find you a husband who is 100 times better than Ren Feng." Lin Xiaoran didn't expect her father to be so detached, so she just divorced and fantasized about her next son. Law. "Dad, with your kind words, I will definitely find someone 100 times better than Ren Feng in the future." Lin Ming clenched his fist and made a gesture of cheering and breathing. Wang Chenhua hesitated to speak, but ultimately remained silent. As for the matter of repaying the debt, Lin Xiaoran knew he couldn't persuade his parents, so he didn't mention it anymore. "Dad, tomorrow you can find someone to go to the Ren family and bring back as much of my dowry as before." Lin Ming patted his chest and said confidently, "Don't worry, Xiaoran, I will definitely move back to our house with the same determination." After a while, Lin Ming went out to eat. Lin Xiaoran took the initiative to ask Wang Chenhua, "Mom, are you worried that I won't be able to get married again?" Wang Chenhua sighed and said, "Yes. After all, many men care if women are their first time." Lin Xiaoran deliberately lowered her voice and said, "Ren Feng and I have never lived in the same room before." "Really? That's great." Wang Chenhua swept away the gloom in her heart. If she had heard this news before her daughter divorced, she would have been determined to fight against the Ren family. Now that she heard it, she was very grateful. She has already made up her mind, and in the future, she will say to the public that Ren Feng has some problems, so she has not been able to get married and her daughter's remarriage will not be affected. At this moment, Ren Feng had just lay on the hospital bed and couldn't help but sneeze, causing pain in his arms and legs. Zhao Meihua pursed her lips and said, "It must be the Lin family cursing you. Don't look at our family losing money, the Lin family doesn't care about our family either." "Oh my! Why did you kick her so hard and cause some internal bleeding and fluid accumulation? It's really scary." Ren Feng couldn't help but feel angry. "Didn't you cheer me on and let me clean up Lin Xiaoran? Didn't you say that by convincing her, she could obediently divorce?" Zhao Meihua felt a bit embarrassed, but she still spoke hard. "I'm right. Don't you think you really convinced her to agree to divorce? No matter how you hit her before, she wouldn't complain. Who would have thought she had the courage to sue our family today and even demanded so much compensation from the lion?" Ren Feng's left hand was not injured, so he pounded the hospital bed hard. "I've taken note of this account, and I'll have to settle it with her sooner or later when I'm healed. Mom, go back and borrow money, let my dad take care of me." Zhao Meihua hesitated a bit and said, "I just asked the doctor. You can take care of your injury at home. Our family is tight on money, why don't I handle your discharge?" End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Love from Parents. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Love from Parents. Ren Feng was afraid of becoming disabled, so he coldly refused, "I won't be discharged. When will my bones grow well before I can be discharged? Mom, think about it in the long run. If my right hand doesn't recover well, I will never be able to write again in this lifetime. Do you want to see my future ruined? My family is tight on money, so you won't go borrow it. Aren't you willing to spend money on me like Lin Xiaoran? Faced with her son's repeated accusations, Zhao Meihua endured her grievances and waved her hand repeatedly. Son, I didn't mean that. Listen to you. Our family is throwing pots and selling iron, and you have to be hospitalized for treatment. I'll go back and call your father to come and take care of you. That's pretty good. Ren Feng felt that he definitely had a way to coax the money back from Lin Xiaoran's hands in the future. Believing that Lin Xiaoran loves her very much, now Lin Xiaoran insists on compensation, nothing more than not wanting a divorce. Thinking of this, he naturally reminded, Mom, tell the doctor that I like quietness. We have taken care of this ward and asked my dad to bring me a change of clothes, and... Zhao Meihua nodded in agreement for fear of angering her son. Before leaving, take a look at the other 2 empty beds in the ward and cover them all. It hurts so much. But my son has spoken, we must listen. In the future, I hope my son can finish college, earn a lot of money, and be filial to her. At this moment, Zhang Zhe and his friend Chu Jinyuan are sitting at home eating roasted chicken and drinking beer. Chu Jinyuan sat very upright, but with a disdainful expression on his face. Our town has finally produced a college student. Surprisingly, he is someone who beats his wife regardless of severity. Ozawa, do you think such a man can contribute to society in the future after he studies? Zhang Ziho took a few sips of beer and said, I think it's good that Ren Feng won't be a scumbag in the future. Yuan Gu, the beer you brought back is really good. I have to have a good time drinking it this time. No problem. This whole box belongs to you. Great. By the way, Brother Yuan, how long will you stay back this time? Chu Jinyuan was in front of Zhang Zhe, with nothing to hide. He lifted his pants and revealed the thick bandage inside. Come back to recuperate. Zhang Zhe quickly snatched the glass of beer from Chu Jinyuan's hand and said, Why didn't you tell me earlier? You have injuries on your body, so you can't drink. Chu Jinyuan knocked on the table and gestured for Zhang Zhe to put down his glass. I asked the doctor, have a drink, it's okay, he said. Zhang Zhe put the cup back with a puzzled expression, that's just 1 cup, you can't drink too much. Gather all the remaining beer to your side. Continuing, Brother Yuan, are you officially discharged from the military now? I didn't ask Chu Jinyuan why he was injured or how it was. Because Zhang Zhe knew that even if asked, Chu Jinyuan wouldn't say anything. Chu Jinyuan's eyes flashed with a hint of complex emotions, and he drank the glass of beer in 1 gulp. Yes. After the injury is healed, the higher-ups will arrange for me to work in a place. Zhang Zhe comforted and said, it's good to step down. With the credit you've made, it must be a good job in a big city. After speaking, take a few sips of beer. Chu Jinyuan said lightly, I have specifically applied for remote areas. This statement made Zhang Zhe feel unbelievable. He almost choked on alcohol and said, cough. Why are you so? I want to say Chu Jinyuan is foolish. But he knew that Chu Jinyuan was not foolish at all, he had always planned ahead of time. Chu Jinyuan didn't give Zhang Zhe a chance to continue asking, so he quickly stood up and said, I should go home now. Zhang Zhe wanted to keep him, your house has been empty for so long, there must be a musty smell. Don't go back. Just stay with me. No need. I called the village in advance and entrusted my neighbor Aunt Zhang to help with cleaning. Chu Jinyuan walked out of the house with big strides. Zhang Zhe couldn't tell at all that this was a person whose leg injury had not healed. I'll ride your bike and take you back. Chu Jinyuan didn't turn back and waved his hand towards the back. There's a car to take me back, he said, you can do it. It's all equipped with a car. Zhang Zhe escorted Chu Jinyuan out with envy on his face, confirming that he had boarded an off-road vehicle on the street before returning home. At around 7 p.m., Lin Xiaoran and his family finished their meal in the ward, and Lin Xiaoran urged Lin Ming to go home and rest. Lin Ming refused to walk and occasionally stood in the corridor, paying attention to the movements in Renfeng's ward. Lin Xiaoran knew that Lin Ming definitely didn't want to take care of Renfeng, but rather wanted to find an opportunity to beat him up. Although the Ren family agreed to compensate, Lin Ming still believed that his daughter had suffered a loss. If he didn't teach Renfeng a lesson, he couldn't swallow this breath. Lin Xiaoran was moved in her heart. In fact, from the moment Lin Ming and Wang Chenhua treated her injuries seriously, she had already regarded them as her own parents. In the previous life, after Lin Xiaoran's parents divorced, they remarried and didn't care about her. It was grandma who raised her with her retirement pension. When she was 18 years old, her grandmother passed away. At that time, she cried so much that she almost fainted. However, her mother who came back to mourn slapped her in the face and said mercilessly, "Why cry? Now that your grandmother is gone, please wake me up. Don't cause trouble for me. If you dare to cry and faint, I dare to lift the funeral hall." At that moment, she thought she had never had such a biological mother before. My biological father, not to mention, has never seen it since she had memories. Later, she found out that her biological mother was the daughter adopted by her grandmother. My mother not only didn't appreciate my grandmother's upbringing, but also resented her taking her to live in other places, so that she could share with her own parents, brothers and sisters. Lin Xiaoran is equivalent to having no blood relationship with her grandmother. Despite this, grandma still worked hard to raise her. In this world, Lin Xiaoran is very happy to have such loving parents and enjoy their love. If I could meet my grandmother, it would be even more perfect. Unfortunately, the country she lived in this lifetime was not the country of the previous lifetime, but a country she had never heard of before, called Country C. She guessed that this life and the previous life belonged to a parallel world. Since she is fortunate enough to come into this world, she must live well. Seeing that Lin Ming was still staring at Renfeng's ward, Lin Xiaoran called Lin Ming to his side and whispered, "Dad, I know you want to vent your anger on me, but now is not the time. In the future, let's find a chance and unconsciously beat him up." Lin Ming's eyes turned red as he clenched his fists vigorously, trying to restrain his urge to hit Renfeng. "Okay, I'll follow my daughter's advice and not hit Renfeng for now. However, your mother and I need to be here tonight to prevent the Ren family from coming and causing trouble," he said. Lin Xiaoran smiled and said, "They dare not. I can't say for sure. Anyway, I can't let you and your mother suffer. I'll just stay here," Lin Ming said with a face that couldn't be refused. Lin Xiaoran couldn't resist his father and had to agree. "Okay, Dad. Can you go to the duty room of the traditional Chinese medicine department and ask if it's possible to arrange for a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner to come and take a look for me? I think it would be better if I could apply ointment." "Okay, let's go now." Lin Ming immediately went to handle it. Wang Chenhua remained silent, but was not idle. Lin Xiaoran needs to stay in bed to recuperate, and the doctor instructed her family to rub her legs and arms more to promote blood circulation. Wang Chenhua took care of her with all her heart and effort, and Lin Xiaoran saw it in her eyes and remembered it in her heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Medical Talent. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Medical Talent. Lin Xiaoran gently grasped Wang Chenhua's hand and said, "Mom, take a break." "I'm not tired," Wang Chenhua said with a gentle expression on her face and a loving gaze in her eyes. "Continue to massage for my daughter." In no time, Lin Ming and a female doctor walked into the ward. This female doctor looks around 50 years old and very kind. After feeling the pulse for Lin Xiaoran, he said softly, "You can apply ointment to your injury, but now that the weather is hot, you may suffer a bit. Applying ointment in summer is highly likely to cause heat rash. Doctor, I'm not afraid. As long as I get better soon, Lin Xiaoran said with a firm expression on her face. In fact, she did this with a purpose, hoping to become a master of traditional Chinese medicine. In this way, her skills in making pills and ointments can be used to make money and subsidize her parents in the future. Of course, acupuncture and moxibustion and the like, she doesn't plan to touch it, because she has tried it in the last life, and she is not a student of acupuncture and moxibustion, so she may have been injected. The female doctor had a kind expression on her face and said, "I'll go back to the pharmacy to collect herbs and make ointment. Tomorrow morning, you'll have the ointment patch. Get ready to leave." Lin Xiaoran quickly seized the opportunity and said, "Doctor, could you please wait a moment? I have read several medical books and know some Chinese medicinal materials that promote blood circulation and remove blood stasis. Can you listen to me and see if I'm right?" The female doctor suddenly became interested and felt that the female patient in front of her had some eye contact. "Of course you can." Lin Xiaoran spoke a lot, and her sternum would still be very painful, but knowing that there might only be one chance, she said solemnly, "There are red flowers, red peony, ripe earth, Angelica sinensis, Chuanxiong, Yujin, Danshan, Sanchi." This successfully caught the attention of the female doctor. "I didn't expect you to understand Chinese medicinal materials. How many types of medicinal materials can you recognize?" "I basically know the medicinal herbs growing on the mountains here, and I remember the pictures of those herbs that I haven't seen before." Lin Xiaoran's sternum pain was severe, and she unconsciously covered it with her hand. The female doctor understood Lin Xiaoran's injury and said, "That's all for today. After you recover from your injury, go to the traditional Chinese medicine department to find me. I want to take a good exam on you. By the way, my name is Li." Upon hearing these words, Lin Xiaoran knew that the master was already very close. "Dr. Li, thank you for listening to me so much. When I'm good, I will definitely go find you to teach me." Lin Ming and Wang Chenhua, who had never spoken, didn't think much at all. "After all, my daughter has bought many books for Renfeng, including a few medical books. It's normal for my daughter to recognize medicinal herbs after reading those books." Li, however, fell for it. The next morning, he came to Lin Xiaoran's bed with the ointment and asked her to smell it. "Can you smell any Chinese medicinal herbs inside?" "I can only smell two medicinal herbs, Salvia miltiariza and Panax noto ginseng," said Lin Xiaoran, trying to hide her clumsiness and impress Dr. Li. Li Yasi didn't hide her inner joy and said, "That's great." After applying ointment to Lin Xiaoran, he didn't speak anymore and gave her a approving look before leaving the hospital room. In fact, Lin Xiaoran could smell all the Chinese medicinal materials used in this ointment, which was the good medicine for treating her injuries. After Li finished his night shift, he went straight home. Just in time, my niece Zhang Zhe came over to deliver the fabric. Li has been surnamed after her mother since birth, while Zhang Zhe's father is surnamed after his father. If not mentioned, no one would have thought that Zhang Zhe was Li Ya's biological nephew. There is a layer of newspaper wrapped around the fabric. "Auntie, this is the fabric. I am filial to you." Zhang Zhe has been close to his aunt since he was young, and he usually brings over any rare items. Li has nothing to say about Zhang Zhe, just like being a biological son. Take the paper bag, open it, and see the fabric inside. Deep purple with dark peony patterns. Very suitable for making qipao. "Ozawa, I really like this fabric. Haven't you had breakfast yet? Come in and wait, I'll make hand-rolled noodles." Zhang Zhe looked happy and said, "Auntie, you still know me. Actually, I'm just here to make a meal, and I just want to eat the rolled noodles you made yourself." "Okay, let's do it now. Help me put the fabric on the sewing machine." "Okay." After putting in the fabric, Zhang Zhe ran into the kitchen and chatted while watching his aunt and noodles. He likes this feeling the most. Every time he is off work, he would come to his aunt's house to grab a meal or two, help her with some work, and chat. "Auntie, you're already 50 years old. Don't work night shifts anymore. Your health is important. With your qualifications, you don't have to continue working night shifts. Before he could finish speaking, Liya interrupted with a smile and said, Ozawa, I like to work night shifts. You don't have to advise me on this. Besides, there are only 3 night shifts a month now, and very few patients call traditional Chinese medicine at night. I can sleep all night, but it doesn't have much impact on my health. By the way, you can help me check someone. Who are you looking for? As long as it's from our town, I can quickly find out. Her name is Lin Xiaoran. She just divorced and was kicked into the heart by her ex-husband. She is currently hospitalized in the town hospital. Zhang Zhe snapped his fingers and said, She. I've dealt with her affairs a lot. Tell me about it. During the conversation, Liya had already made up the noodles, found the rolling pin, and started rolling out the noodles. Zhang Zhe leaned against the door frame and gently shook his head. She's a silly big sister, he said. What kind of silly method? Her former husband's name was Ren Feng. He looked like a dog, but he was not a real person. Before marrying her, he spent money from his mother's family. After marrying her, he spent it with peace of mind and scolded her either by beating or scolding her. Despite this, she still sent books, eggs, roasted chicken, pig trotters, malt milk powder and other things to Ren Feng's school without any hindrance. For Ren Feng, she offended many people and had a bad reputation. As soon as Ren Feng received the college admission letter, he proposed to divorce her, but she refused. She was kicked out of an internal injury and broke her heart before agreeing to divorce. After hearing this, Liya couldn't help but mutter softly, Lin Xiaoran looks quite smart. I guess she wasn't stupid before, but she loved Ren Feng too much and couldn't recognize people clearly. Zhang Zhe added, now she knows that asking Ren Feng for compensation is not foolish enough. By the way, Auntie, why is she suddenly interested in her? She has a great talent for studying medicine, and I want to take her as an apprentice. Does she have a bad reputation? Of course it's not good. The skinned parents subsidize the mother-in-law's family, do not interact with their cousins and other relatives, steal the neighbor's old hen, steal peaches from the orchard. However, the root cause is all because of Ren Feng. Both the mother's family and neighbors have said bad things about Ren Feng, and she can't listen, so she got revenge. As for stealing peaches from the orchard, it's because she saw that the orchard uncle's daughter had some interest in Ren Feng, and she couldn't get angry, so she went to hunt peaches. Upon hearing this, Liya had a clear idea. Lin Xiaoran used to do those foolish things because of Ren Feng, but now she's divorced, shouldn't she do that again? Lin Xiaoran can smell the 2 medicinal herbs in the plaster, which is already very good for someone who has not specifically studied traditional Chinese medicine. This indicates that Lin Xiaoran has a great talent for studying medicine. However, there is still a certain standard for Liya to accept apprentices. We need to find a way to test Lin Xiaoran's character. Ozawa, do me a favor. Auntie, if you have anything to say, please speak up. You're like this. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Bullying the soft and fearing the hard. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Bullying the soft and fearing the hard. This time, Lin Xiaoran and her parents have already had breakfast. The nurse came over to give her an injection. Before leaving work, Liya specifically instructed the nurse to take care of Lin Xiaoran. The nurse was very polite to Lin Xiaoran. Director Li said that he will personally apply ointment for you in the next few days, so the dosage of Western medicine should be reduced. Today, only 1 bottle of suspension needle and medication will be given. Lin Xiaoran smiled and thanked the nurse. After putting on the hanging bottle for a while, Zhao Meihua pushed Ren Feng in. Seeing that the other 2 beds next to Lin Xiaoran's hospital bed were empty, I couldn't help but click and say, you really have money. This is just buying 3 beds. The nurse politely said, there aren't many female patients, so the hospital bed in this ward is empty, so there's no need to spend extra money on the hospital bed. Zhao Meihua felt sorry for the money she spent on the hospital bed last night. My family's fate is really hard. Your hospital has a patient who insists on stuffing into my son's ward, which caused me to spend 2 more beds. That's why you arranged for that patient to be moved to another place. Why don't you arrange for Lin Xiaoran's room? The nurse remained polite, because there were more male patients who moved in last night, and Lin Xiaoran was a female patient. Zhao Meihua was so angry that she stomped her feet and couldn't wait to finish listening. She directly questioned, aren't all hospital wards mixed with men and women? Why are we divided into men and women now? The nurse's face turned black and she said, what kind of illness is that? Some patients can't mix men and women. What's wrong? Do you want to be the home of a hospital? If you feel it's not appropriate, you can contact our director. See if your son can still take care of the ward then. Zhao Meihua has always bullied the weak and feared the hard. After being scolded by the nurse, she immediately became discouraged and said, I was wrong, but can't I? Don't be angry. I'll come over and pay compensation to Lin Xiaoran. Quickly took out an oily little cloth bag from his pocket, opened layer after layer, and finally revealed the money inside. There are 50 yuan, 10 yuan, 2 yuan, and 1 yuan. The nurse had other matters and was too lazy to pay attention to Zhao Meihua, so she left the ward directly. Ren Feng remained silent, but he hated this nurse in his heart. He aspired to become a major cadre in the future and dismiss all those who had previously opposed him. Zhao Meihua spat on her hand and began counting the money. Disgustingly, Lin Xiaoran couldn't do anything and gestured to her mother to pick up the money later. Lin Xiaoran felt that if the money was placed in her own hands, goosebumps would appear all over her body. Zhao Meihua spat in her hand once, not enough saliva. She spat about 10 times in a row, and every note was stained with her saliva. Lin Xiaoran knew that Zhao Meihua had a serious bad breath and suddenly felt that the money was not good. After Zhao Meihua finished counting the money, she did not hand it to anyone in Lin Xiaoran's family. But with a pleasing smile on his face, he said, Xiaoran, could you please write a commitment letter to our 2 families? We will stop here and never sue my son Ren Feng. Lin Xiaoran takes a look at Ren Feng and can guess without asking that it was this scum man who gave his mother advice. I'm not a fool. If I write a promise letter to you in the first place, you can scold me like a dog with blood. Don't even think about the promise letter. Alright, hurry up and give the money to my mother, otherwise I'll change my mind and sue Ren Feng. Zhao Meihua didn't expect Lin Xiaoran, who used to be narrow-minded, to become smarter. Ren Feng gently tugged at Zhao Meihua's pant legs, gesturing for her to give the money. Zhao Meihua could only offer the money with pain in her eyes. Wang Chenhua didn't care about the saliva on the money. After taking the money, she carefully counted it twice before taking out her previous IOU. Hand it to Zhao Meihua. Zhao Meihua took the IOU and showed it to Ren Feng. Ren Feng nodded after reading it, and then Zhao Meihua tore up the IOU. Lin Xiaoran pointed to the door and signaled that the 2 of them could leave now. Ren Feng looked at Lin Xiaoran with disgust and said coldly, You're just a bereaved star. Otherwise, I wouldn't have fallen off my bike. After divorcing you, my good luck will come. Lin Xiaoran insisted on adding to Ren Feng's frustration, You're wrong. Ren Feng, think about it carefully. Since I married into your family, you've had pork to eat and have money to spend every day, and you've been raising it all for nothing. You've even been admitted to college. But when you have the idea of divorce, it's different. You broke a bone and went to the hospital. After divorce, you're even more unlucky. Please compensate me 1,000 yuan. As for whether your arms can grow well, it's really up to fate. I advise you to do good deeds every day in the future to avoid being plagued by bad luck. Ren Feng never knew that Lin Xiaoran's words were so poisonous and infuriated. If I were really unlucky, it would be your curse, he said. Lin Xiaoran looked relaxed and said, if cursing someone can make you unlucky, then I'll curse you 10,000 times a day. Ren Feng refused to be outdone and said, you are an abandoned woman with a disgusting pussy on your face. You are extremely ugly and will never get married in your lifetime. I didn't consider saying any harm out of my mouth, and from the bottom of my heart, I felt that no matter how unpleasant my scolding was, I could still please Lin Xiaoran in the future. Lin Xiaoran is not angry yet. Lin Ming and Wang Chenhua are already extremely angry. Lin Ming stepped forward and lifted Ren Feng from his wheelchair. Those surnamed Ren, if you have the ability, you can say it again. Ren Feng is also a bully who fears the hard and dares not repeat it. Zhao Meihua immediately shouted, hitting someone. Everyone, come and see. As the head of the family, I told you not to rush back to the village. You must leave, and now we, the two of us, have been bullied. She called the head of the family because she saw through the window that Rendaqiang had just walked out of the hospital gate. I want Rendaqiang to come back and help. But Rendaqiang is afraid of things, especially knowing that Lin Ming is there. He dare not show his face. Upon hearing Zhao Meihua's shout, she ran even faster. Wang Chenhua slapped Zhao Meihua on the back and said, shut up. If you shout again, you'll break your son's right arm. We'll pay for the medicine and have the doctor reattach it for him. Apologize now. You both apologize to my daughter. Interrupting and reconnecting is highly likely to result in disability. Zhao Meihua looked frightened and said, aren't you afraid of me suing you? Aren't you afraid of going to jail? Lin Ming easily put Ren Feng back into the wheelchair and said, did Ren Feng see that? I think it's very easy to hit you. If you're sensible, apologize to my daughter immediately. If you don't apologize, I'll risk going to jail and break your arms and legs. Can you still go to college then? Ren Feng saw that Lin Ming was a harmless person and quickly said, I apologize. Lin Xiaoran, I'm sorry. I'll take back what I said earlier, and in the future, you can definitely marry a man 100 times better than me. Mom, hurry up and apologize to Lin Xiaoran. Zhao Meihua reluctantly said, Lin Xiaoran, I'm sorry, it used to be me who was wrong. Please don't have the same view as me, this old lady. At this moment, the nurse walked in and pointed to Zhao Meihua without showing any mercy. Did you guys make a big fuss just now? If you continue like this, go to another hospital for treatment. After being kicked out, I had to go to the county hospital, far from home, and the cost was much higher than here. Zhao Meihua immediately admitted her mistake and said, we were wrong. We will speak quietly in the future. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Warmth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Warmth. The nurse pointed to the door and said with a tone of no objection, hurry up and push your son back to the ward. Zhao Meihua smiled and said, I'll go back, I'll go back. Push Ren Feng away obediently. Wang Chenhua apologized to the nurse. The nurse pursed her lips and waved her hand to indicate that it was okay, then walked out of the ward. After getting angry, Ren Feng returned to the hospital room and began to curse softly, the Lin family are not good people. That nurse is not good either. And that security officer named Hizei is not good either. When I graduate from college and become a senior cadre, I won't spare these people. Zhao Meihua sighed. Currently, her family owes 500 yuan in debt. When will she be able to repay it? She dared not say these words in front of her son, and could only feel anxious in her heart. In my heart, I resent my husband Rendaqiang for not having the ability. Son, if you have any future prospects, don't worry about your father. Today, he hurriedly left the hospital like a shrunken turtle, causing our mother and I to be insulted by the Lin family. After we go back, I have nothing to do with him. When he comes to take care of you at night, don't pay attention to him. Ren Feng was speechless and said, I won't talk to him. Who will take care of me at night? Why don't you stay here? Zhao Meihua shook her head repeatedly and said, that's not possible. I have to go back to sleep. I can't sleep here. Let your father come. Ren Feng felt resentful in his heart. His father was weak and incompetent, so he would run away when things happened. My mother is selfish and self-interested. He doesn't feel at all that he is a combination of his parents, weak, incompetent, and selfish. 1 hour later, Lin Ming returned to Quanshui village and called out to his nephews. He borrowed a long cart and horse from the village and rushed to the neighboring Renjia village. Lin Ming only has Lin Xiaoran as his daughter, but he has 6 nephews, all of whom are adults. The eldest nephew is 25 years old, and the youngest nephew is 19 years old. When he arrived at Ren Feng's house, only his father Ren Daqiang was at home. Ren Daqiang is a coward. He is 50 years old this year. When he saw so many men from the Lin family coming to his door, he was so scared that he hid in his bedroom, inserted the door, and talked to Lin Ming through the window. In-laws, why did you come? You asked very politely. Lin Ming glared angrily at the window and said, who is your in-laws? My daughter and your son have divorced, and we will only be enemies from now on. Ren Daqiang trembled with fear and quickly explained, I will only know about Xiaoran's father's divorce from Xiaofeng after the divorce is over. Otherwise, I will definitely have to stop him. It's our Ren family's fault for your family's Xiaoran. Today, we have something to say. If you're really angry, go to the hospital to beat Xiaofeng up. I won't say a word of no. Lin Ming sneered and remained silent. I secretly thought to myself, if Ren Daqiang didn't know about the divorce, I wouldn't even believe it if I killed him. Lin Mingchao's nephews behind him waved their hands and gestured for them to enter the house to move their dowry. Ren Daqiang thought that Lin Ming had someone smash his bedroom door. Shouting loudly, don't smash the door. It's easy to discuss. Xiaoran's father, isn't it that my wife didn't give the other 500 yuan to Xiaoran? She brought money over. If you find her slow, I'll scold her later. Also, if you have any requests, please don't smash the door or hit me. Lin Ming realized that he had forgotten to tell Ren Daqiang the purpose of his trip. Ren Daqiang, today our Lin family didn't come to cause trouble. You stay in the room and we'll leave after we finish moving Xiaoran's dowry. Upon hearing these words, Ren Daqiang's pounding heart finally became much more stable. Move it. I promise to stay honest. Half an hour later, the Lin family took away those dowries. Until no one was visible, Ren Daqiang dared to open the bedroom door and stomped his foot in pain when he saw that the next room was only empty. He cursed at the air for a while. There is not a hint of the same timidity as before. At around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Lin Ming walked into Lin Xiaoran's ward with a bundle on his back. After putting down the burden, he talked about the entire process of moving the dowry. After listening, Lin Xiaoran whispered, after I recover, please treat my cousins to dinner. Wang Chenhua immediately nodded in agreement. It was absolutely impossible for her daughter to take the initiative to invite her cousins to dinner in the past. Now that my daughter is divorced, her temperament has also changed. Get better. A family should interact more. Lin Ming also noticed the changes in his daughter. Lin Ming and his wife did not suspect that their daughter had switched hearts, thinking that her divorce had stimulated her and they knew they were getting closer to their Lin family peers. Lin Ming opened the bundle, which contained 6 white flour mantou and 10 mixed flour buns. In these days, white flour mantou was used for visiting relatives, and people at home were reluctant to eat it. Xiaoran, your grandmother just steamed it at noon and insisted that I bring it for you to eat. Lin Xiaoran suddenly remembered something. The original owner's grandmother was named Gao Min. Initially, the original owner insisted on marrying Ren Feng because Gao Min said Ren Feng was not a good match. The original owner never spoke to Gao Min again, and even his grandfather ignored him. Mom and Dad, it used to be me who was wrong. I shouldn't have treated my grandparents like that. But now, when I think about it, it's still my grandma who was right. When I get better, I'll go to my grandma's house and apologize. Wang Chenhua looked relieved as she held her daughter's hand and said, Xiaoran, don't think too much about it. You're taking good care of yourself. You didn't have much lunch, so I'll get you a steamed bun to eat. At this moment, Lin Ming handed a wet towel and said, Morning flower, wipe Xiaoran's hands and let her eat some. Dad, I'll do it myself. Lin Xiaoran tried to get up and take a towel from Lin Ming's hand, but was stopped by Wang Chenhua. Xiaoran, lie down obediently. Faced with the meticulous care of her parents, Lin Xiaoran felt very happy in her heart. In the previous life, every time I fell ill and was hospitalized, I couldn't even see my parents taking care of me. In this life, she can always feel it. After cleaning her hands, she insisted on eating steamed buns with her parents. My parents couldn't be more stubborn than Lin Xiaoran, and each person broke up half of it. My parents are all eating in small bites. Lin Xiaoran knew that it was not that they didn't like it, but that there was pig oil residue inside, which was very fragrant and unwilling to swallow it in a few bites. After the family of 3 finished steaming steamed buns, Lin Xiaoran brought up the issue of debt repayment again. Dad, I've received 1,000 yuan and it's always kept in the ward. I'm not worried, you can take it back to pay the bill. Just as Lin Ming was about to talk about treating before repaying the money, Lin Xiaoran immediately said, I have asked the doctor. For my injury, 100 yuan for injections, medicine, and plaster is definitely enough. The remaining money will be used to pay off the debt. Of course, this money may not be enough to pay off the debt. After I am discharged from the hospital, we can earn money together and gradually repay it. Before Lin Ming returned, Lin Xiaoran had already inquired with Wang Chenhua about the family's debt situation. I owe a total of about 1,500 yuan in debt. Lin Ming looked at Wang Chenhua and said, Are you present when our daughter asked the doctor? Wang Chenhua nodded to indicate presence. Lin Ming agreed to bring 900 yuan back to repay the debt. However, he also said that he will definitely be back before 8 p.m. tonight. Lest Ren Feng and Ren Daqiang come and cause trouble. Their family of 3 did not know that what they had just said was overheard by Zhao Meihua. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Does the scumbag regret it a bit? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Does the scumbag regret it a bit? Zhao Meihua returned to Ren Feng's ward. Son, the Lin family is taking our compensation of 1,000 yuan and going to repay the debt. Lin Xiaoran's injury is not that serious at all, it can be cured with 100 yuan. It's like extortion to ask us to compensate 1,000 yuan. Without any hesitation, when the Lin family gave Ren Daqiang 600 yuan to treat his illness, his family never paid it back. Without thinking about it, Lin Xiaoran gradually took back hundreds of yuan from the Lin family to subsidize his family. These money, combined, definitely amounts to 1,000 yuan. Zhao Meihua clapped her hands hard and said, I want to go talk to Lin Xiaoran. A look of preparation for a big fight. Being stopped by Ren Feng's voice, Mom, don't go. I'll wait until I report to college smoothly. Now we can't just fish with Lin Xiaoran. As soon as her son reminded her, Zhao Meihua tried her best to suppress her impulse to scold Lin Xiaoran in person. No matter how much you hold back in your heart, you must endure it. Xiaofeng, can you still report to school on time for this injury? If you can't report on time, wouldn't it be a waste of your college spots? Zhao Meihua's eyes rolled and she had some other thoughts. If she sold her son's spot in college, could she exchange it for several thousand yuan? Yesterday she went back to the village to borrow money, and the village accountant politely mentioned a few words, which roughly meant that she couldn't waste this quota. He has connections. He also said that Ren Feng is studying so well that he can take the exam again next year, and he is sure to be able to pass it again. However, She dare not speak these words now and plans to find opportunities for her son to speak them out on his own in the future. Ren Feng clenched his fist in his left hand, as if to cheer himself up. If I can't, I must be able. I start school in early September, and there are still more than 10 days left. We will ask the hospital to give me the best medicine, and I will definitely recover. Zhao Meihua hesitated to speak, wanting to say that she had been hurting her muscles and bones all day, but she was afraid that if she spoke out, she would be despised by her son's crow mouth. I had to say, okay. I'll go tell the doctor and use the best medicine. Step out of the ward. I happened to see Wang Chenhua carrying a thermos to the water room to fetch water. Zhao Meihua unconsciously placed her hand on her scalp, where Wang Chenhua forcefully pulled off a bunch of hair, which still felt a faint pain. If it weren't for her son's bright future, she would definitely tear off 3 bundles of hair for Wang Chenhua. Now we can only think about it and cannot put it into practice. Zhao Meihua walked into the doctor's office and strongly demanded that the hospital use the most expensive medicine for Ren Feng, and make sure to get better by early September. The doctor told her truthfully that if Ren Feng's injury and physical condition were to fully recover, it would be at least 3 months later. Zhao Meihua told Ren Feng about this fact. Ren Feng persisted and forced Zhao Meihua to take him to the county hospital to see a doctor. Zhao Meihua had to go back to Rinjia village to inform her family and relatives, and borrowed another 200 yuan for emergencies. Shouting for Ren Daqiang, I hired a few strong laborers from my family, hired a carriage, and went to the town hospital to pick up Ren Feng and go to the county hospital to see a doctor. At the county hospital, the doctor's diagnosis is still at least 3 months old. Ren Feng still didn't give up and requested to go to the city hospital. Zhao Meihua dare not say she won't go, afraid that her son will hate her because of this. One of the strong laborers who followed had to drive back in a carriage. The remaining people helped hire a tractor to drive to the city. The result was the same when it arrived there. Ren Feng still refuses to accept this fact and requests a night's rest before going to the provincial hospital early tomorrow morning. Faced with the only college student in the village, Zhao Meihua and her team had to compromise. The next morning, he hired a car to go to the provincial hospital. Once there, the same result remained. The university that Ren Feng is going to study is near the provincial hospital. With a try-and-see attitude, he asked his family to bring their diagnostic certificate to the school to apply for a 3.5 month delay before enrolling. Unfortunately, the school has not yet started and the teachers are not available. Zhao Meihua had to send the following strong laborers back first. Of course, her family can cover the cost of transportation. She and Ren Daqiang stayed with Ren Feng at the provincial hospital. In this way, Ren Feng can receive treatment while waiting for the school to start. Zhao Meihua has once again set her sights on selling college spots. Without daring to face Ren Feng, she called Ren Daqiang to the corner of the corridor to discuss. Xiao Feng's father, can you persuade Xiao Feng to sell his school spots? Anyway, he can't go to school on time. To be honest, the village accountant Lu mentioned to me earlier that there is a way to sell college spots, at least 3,000 or 4,000 yuan. Ren Daqiang couldn't help but rub his hands. He thought it was feasible, but he didn't dare to persuade his son. I won't advise. If you have the ability, go advise. Zhao Meihua saw that she didn't expect to take up the position of a strong man, so she had to grit her teeth and go to the hospital room to discuss with her son. Just before she finished speaking, she was scolded by Ren Feng. Ren Feng was extremely angry. He didn't know the attitude of the school yet, and his own mother actually planned to give up. Zhao Meihua is someone who can bend and stretch, shamelessly trying to make her son happy. Ren Feng still had to rely on her to take care of him, and he didn't continue to be angry with her. In a blink of an eye, we'll wait until August 25th. At around 2 p.m., Zhao Meihua inquired about the school teacher's work. Hurriedly borrowed a wheelchair from the hospital, pushed Ren Feng, brought proof and application materials, and went to the school to handle the procedures for delayed admission. In the end, the school agreed. Ren Feng breathed a sigh of relief. During his hospitalization, he has been extremely depressed, so he is in a better mood today. He was depressed because he actually missed the days when Lin Xiaoran served him tea and poured water, and was willing to spend money. Lin Xiaoran used to fight back and curse back, hoping that he would be admitted to college. He never wanted to sell his college spot to exchange money. His parents are different. They are reluctant to spend money and only give him one meal of meat and vegetables a day, while the rest are vegetarian dishes. They want to eat a bunch of grapes but don't buy them. They also want to sell his college spot. Where have you ever experienced this injustice before? It's all Lin Xiaoran giving money or preparing meat and vegetables, and there won't be less fruit at around 11 p.m. that evening. Ren Daqiang and his family boarded the train back to the county town. I didn't arrive at the county railway station until after 3 a.m. on the 26th. Finally staying up until dawn, I hired a carriage and headed towards the town hospital. At around 8 o'clock in the morning, I arrived at the town hospital and completed the hospitalization procedures. I plan to continue my hospitalization treatment. While waiting for the allocation of the ward, Lin Xiaoran was rushing to be discharged. Ren Feng couldn't help but give her a second glance. I always feel that her appearance has changed a bit. After thinking for a while, I realized that the acne on Lin Xiaoran's face was not as scary as before. Hesitating whether or not to proactively greet Lin Xiaoran, repair the relationship, and maybe even cheat some money to spend. But Lin Xiaoran didn't even look at him, he was a bit angry. Ren Daqiang followed Ren Feng's gaze and saw Lin Ming's family, feeling a bit afraid of him. He couldn't help but tremble. Taking advantage that Lin Ming and the others were not looking this way, they quickly pushed Ren Feng to another place. Ren Feng was dissatisfied in his heart, but he couldn't say anything. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. He is not worth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. He is not worth. Ren Feng didn't know that Lin Xiaoran's face had been treated with acne cream for 2 days. 8 days ago, Zhang Zhe asked someone to test Lin Xiaoran's character. When Lin Xiaoran went to the public restroom, he found a palm-sized cloth wallet. After taking it out of the public restroom, she didn't take it for herself. Instead, she called out to Zhang Zhe, who was patrolling, to wait a moment, and then handed him the wallet to help find the owner. Zhang Zhe truthfully informed Liya, and now Liya is at ease. On the same day, I lent Lin Xiaoran several books on traditional Chinese medicine pharmacology to pass the time. After only a few days of effort, Lin Xiaoran was able to recite fluently. It's not that Lin Xiaoran is so smart, but that she has memorized these books in her previous life. After Liya's inspection, he was very satisfied. At that time, Lin Xiaoran took the opportunity to propose apprenticeship and wanted to learn how to make ointment from Liya. Liya silently felt the pulse for Lin Xiaoran and confirmed that the injury was not a major problem before agreeing to teach him how to make ointment. However, for now, he will not accept any apprenticeship, depending on whether Lin Xiaoran has pharmaceutical talent. On the surface, I asked Lin Xiaoran what kind of ointment she wanted to learn most about, but in reality, I wanted to find a question to teach Lin Xiaoran. Lin Xiaoran didn't hesitate to say that she wanted to learn acne ointment. Lin Xiaoran has several ready-made formulas for this ointment, but he needs to take the opportunity to learn how to make it. Liya deliberately presented a flawed formula for acne cream to Lin Xiaoran. At the same time, inform us of this drawback. After applying the ointment to the face, the pain is unbearable and needs improvement. Liya did not hide anything, but taught Lin Xiaoran how to make it and allowed her to use her knowledge of medicinal materials to improve the formula in the hospital laboratory. This is exactly what Lin Xiaoran is looking forward to. Learn to make ointments while recovering from hospitalization. However, Liya stipulated that Lin Xiaoran's daily learning time for making ointments should not exceed 2 hours. Lin Xiaoran readily agreed, knowing that the prospective master was considering her health. Just 2 days ago, Lin Xiaoran produced the first batch of formula improved ointments. Wang Chenhua and Lin Ming both volunteered to have a drug tester, but were directly rejected by Li Ye. Because Li Ye decided to let her and Lin Xiaoran try the ointment. This way, it is better to control and record the efficacy of the drug. Today is the second day of drug testing, and Lin Xiaoran's acne on her face is clearly not as strong as before. The wrinkles on Li Ye's face have significantly reduced. It indicates that the efficacy is good. Li Ye personally escorted Lin Xiaoran to the hospital door and handed her a package. Lin Xiaoran was puzzled that she had not prepared a gift for the prospective disciple yet. Did the prospective disciple prepare it for her first? Li Ye's face was gentle. Xiaoran, there are some medicinal herbs and a bone-repairing ointment formula inside the bag. The downside of the formula is that it has a slow effect. While you go home to take care of your body, you need to make an improved version of the ointment. During the development process, if there are any missing medicinal herbs, ask your parents to come to the town hospital to ask me for them. Lin Xiaoran understood in her heart that Teacher Li was not intentionally enslaving her, but rather wanted to find something for her to do and avoid her thoughts from wandering around due to divorce when she returned to her mother's house. Unconsciously carrying a sense of gratitude in his gaze, he took the bundle and said, "Master, thank you." Li Ye raised his eyebrows and deliberately said, "It's too early to call the master now. Wait until you make an improved version of the ointment and then come to my house to pay respects to the master." "Okay, I won't make you wait too long. By the way, the cost of these medicinal herbs. I have applied for research and development funding from above, so we don't have to personally pay for it. But one thing is, once we have the results, we need to submit them to the public first." "I understand." Li Ye lightly patted Lin Xiaoran's shoulder and said, "But don't worry, as long as there are good results, they will reward us. As for the exact amount of the bonus, I'm not sure, but I know we can definitely repay your family's debt. I still have work to do, let's go." Before Lin Xiaoran could respond, Li Ye had turned around and returned to the office. Lin Xiaoran was slightly surprised. It turned out that Teacher Li knew everything, even about her family's debts. On second thought, it's also true. To be an apprentice, one must have a clear understanding of the apprentice's family, otherwise it would be troublesome. At this moment, she didn't know that Zhang Zhe was Li Ye's nephew. Lin Ming is leading a carriage borrowed from the village collective to pick up his daughter and discharge her from the hospital. Lin Xiaoran found a reason to go to the thatched cottage, put the package in his father's hands, and return to the ward building. Actually, she had already seen Ren Feng sitting in a wheelchair just now, but she didn't pay attention to him. Lin Xiaoran will not forget the grudge of being kicked in her heart and mouth. The Ren family lost money, and she won't continue to sue Ren Feng, but how Ren Feng hit and kicked her back then, she will pay it back together. And you have to return it with your own hands. For this, she has already developed a daily exercise plan for herself. In the future, when kicking people, one should kick them steadily, accurately, and fiercely. She knows Ren Feng well. Even if she gets divorced and loses money, Ren Feng still wants to coax some money out of her hands. The day Ren Feng came to deceive her, it was when she fought back with her own hands. When the time comes, she will have a way to make Ren Feng mute suffer from the bitterness of Huanglian. As for when Ren Feng comes to visit, it must be after his bone injury is healed. It will take at least about 3 months. So she has 3 months to practice. It is not too late for a gentleman to seek revenge in 10 years, and it is not too late for a young woman to seek revenge in 3 months. As for the matter of Ren Feng going to college, is he the only scumbag with such moral character? Of course not. Also, did the Ren family think they could just compensate for 1,000 yuan? It's simply a fool's dream. In no time, Lin Xiaoran walked into Ren Feng's ward. Only Ren Feng is alone. Lying on the hospital bed, Ren Feng felt a hint of happiness in his heart when he saw Lin Xiaoran. He thought to himself, this ugly guy is going to stick it up again. As long as she is willing to pay, I will take the initiative to talk to her. However, Lin Xiaoran's cold voice came, Ren Feng, since we have already divorced, your family should also repay the money you owed my mother's family before. Ren Feng was so angry that he couldn't care about the pain in his legs and arms. He sat up directly and said, Lin Xiaoran, don't take any further action. My family has already given you 1,000 yuan. The previous accounts have been cleared. Lin Xiaoran snorted coldly, it's a pity you're still a college student. You don't understand the principle of putting things one by one. Then I'll emphasize it to you again. The compensation of 1,000 yuan can only be exchanged for me to swallow my grievances and not sue you. It's only natural for me to repay the debt. As a college student about to enter university, I believe you won't be in debt. Tell me, when will you repay the 600 yuan my family lent you and the money I lent you before? Ren Feng was so anxious that his eyes turned red. Lin Xiaoran, your family lent me 600 yuan, I admit it. But when will you lend me money? If you have the ability, you can tell me which year, month, day, and place, and how much money will you lend me? He doesn't believe what evidence Lin Xiaoran can provide. I didn't know that these days, Lin Xiaoran had already compiled an account book based on her memory. Lin Xiaoran took out several notebooks from his pocket and read, on August 18, 1979, he lent Ren Feng 20 yuan to buy a pen. On August 25, 1979, he lent Ren Feng 15 yuan to buy pants. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Find a way to make money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Find a way to make money. Before she could finish reading, Ren Feng was already hesitant. That. I understand. I acknowledge all these accounts. When I have the money, I will repay it to you. Speaking so, but secretly cursing Lin Xiaoran for being inconsistent and even keeping accounts. If we really investigate, there is indeed evidence to prove. We can only stabilize Lin Xiaoran first. Strive to deceive Lin Xiaoran into writing a commitment letter that will never be charged in the future. Unexpectedly, Lin Xiaoran said mercilessly, since you all agree, then write an IOU. Ren Feng didn't want to write a promissory note. I can't hold a pen with my hand, but I definitely admit it. By the way, you don't have to ask my parents. They don't have money in their hands and borrowed a lot of money to treat my injury. If you ask them for money, it will only be in vain because the village collective has already spoken up and won't lend money to my family anymore. My relatives also said they won't lend money anymore. When I recover from my injury, I will go and send you the promissory note. The interest will be included when the time comes. Lin Xiaoran smiled and didn't smile. Of course, he knew that the Ren family was already at the end of their lives and couldn't repay the money in the short term, but he had to warn a few words, remember what you said. Come to my house to send the IOU in 3 months. If you don't do it, I will go to your school and make a fuss. When the school dismisses you, don't blame me. He came to add to Ren Feng's troubles, so naturally he didn't give him a chance to speak and turned around to leave. Lin Xiaoran walked quickly and did not hear Ren Feng's low curses. When Zhao Meihua and Ren Daqiang returned to the ward, Ren Feng did not mention that Lin Xiaoran had come and demanded debt. It's not that he doesn't want to cause trouble for his parents, but he confidently believes that in the future, he can make Lin Xiaoran write a promise letter that he will never get into trouble. I don't think Lin Xiaoran doesn't love him at all. He attributed Lin Xiaoran's changes to intentionally asking him for money and making things difficult for him in order to remarry. More than half an hour later, Lin Xiaoran stood in front of a courtyard at the end of Quanshui village. This is her ancestral home. My mood is very complicated. The dilapidated courtyard door seemed to fall when pushed back. There are 2 Western-style houses, one big and one small. Lin Ming and his wife live in the big Western-style house, while Lin Xiaoran lived in the small Western-style house before getting married. There is also a southern room prepared for Lin Xiaoran's grandmother Jinji's retirement. In recent years, Jinji has been living with her eldest son, but this room has never been used and is filled with miscellaneous items. It wasn't until a few days ago that she tidied it up and placed Lin Xiaoran's dowry inside. To the north of the western house is a stove, all of which are earthen embryo houses with wheat straw roofs. The roof has not been repaired for a long time, and it is easy to leak in heavy rain. Behind the southern house is a pigsty and a thatched pit. In my impression, the pigsty and the pit are together. When going up to the thatched cottage, one may accidentally get stung by a pig's mouth. Of course, that pig is not owned by the Lin family, but is raised by the village collective and can be changed jobs. Lin Xiaoran couldn't help but sigh inwardly. If there were no subsidies for the Ren family this year and they used that money to build a house, they would be able to build at least 3 large brick and tile houses, a separate thatched cottage, and a bathroom. As for the money that Ren Feng owes her family, she is very confident that she can recover it, but it is not now and needs to wait. Clench your fists, make up your mind, make sure to earn money quickly to pay off your debts, and then save money to build a house. Lin Ming and his wife saw Lin Xiaoran standing at the door and not walking inside, thinking that she was feeling sad about the divorce. Lin Mingqiao whispered to Wang Chenhua, "You advise our daughter, I'll put the things I brought back in my possession." Wang Chenhua nodded in agreement and took Lin Xiaoran's arm as she walked inside. "Xiaoran, let's go home." Lin Xiaoran's thoughts returned and he said, "Okay. Go home. This will be her home in the future. She has loving parents." Wang Chenhua opened the door of the southern house, which contained the dowries that had been brought back from the Ren family. The large bed, cabinets, sewing machine, basin rack were all put away. "Xiaoran, if you're looking at Guying, I'll have your dad sell all these things and buy you a new one." She used to sell things from her family and knew several people who specialize in buying second-hand furniture at reasonable prices. "Just waiting for my daughter to speak." Lin Xiaoran gave a bitter smile and said, "I do feel a sense of unease. That big bed was once laid down by Ren Feng. There's also the cabinet, which used to let Ren Feng's clothes go, the wash basin rack was draped with his towel, and the wash basin was washed by Ren Feng's feet. Before the divorce, every time Ren Feng returned from school to live with the Ren family, he would occupy this bed and drive away the original main bunk. The original owner was a foolish person who willingly laid the ground. She is even more willing to let Ren Feng wash her feet with her basin. Perhaps, liking someone, even the stinky feet are fragrant." Wang Chenhua cautiously confirmed to her daughter, "Then sell them all." Seeing Wang Chenhua's expression of fear of touching her daughter's heart, Lin Xiaoran felt a little sorry and gave her a hug. "Mom, don't worry about me, I'm fine. I've already let go of that relationship, except for the sewing machine and my clothes. Everything else has been taken care of. Don't buy it for me. I just need to sleep on the wooden bed before getting married. Don't buy me a new one, otherwise I'll run away from home." Being intimidated by Lin Xiaoran, Wang Chenhua had to dispel the idea of selling money to exchange for new furniture for her daughter. Lin Xiaoran calculated that after selling the money, he could repay a portion of the debt. Walking into one of the western rooms, I found my original wooden bed in this room. The room has nothing else but a bed. Wang Chenhua comes over. Lin Xiaoran patted the wooden bed with a relaxed expression on her face and said, "Mom, it's great to be back at our house. Let's live a good life in the future. Let me tidy up first. You and my dad can go contact someone to sell furniture." The girl spoke up and Wang Chenhua immediately followed suit, "Okay." After watching his parents go out, Lin Xiaoran was not idle. At the same time as the new formula for the ointment instructed by the RD master, she wants to make some ointment that can be applied as soon as possible. Please ask the master to introduce you to the traditional Chinese medicine factory in the county and see if you can make money by selling formulas. As for the cost of making medicinal herbs for ointment, she pays for it herself and will never take advantage of the public. However, traditional Chinese medicine factories take a relatively long time to test the efficacy of the ointment. Lin Xiaoran pondered on a quick way to get money. How to use one's foundation in traditional Chinese medicine to make money faster. It really made her think of it. Can be used on skincare products. In this era, there were only simple and easily available skincare products such as clam oil, and she could develop traditional Chinese herbal skincare products. There is a skincare factory in the city center, and she plans to quickly produce some trial products to try her luck in the city. Do as you please. Take out a pen and paper, write and draw. First, I wrote the R&D plan of mung bean paste facial mask. Mung beans have the effect of clearing heat and detoxifying, which is present at home. They were given by her grandmother during her hospitalization. Add some other herbs and materials, you can make mung bean facial mask, beauty, skin cleansing, inflammation and acne. Lin Xiaoran wrote 5 kinds of facial mask at one go. Single mung bean facial mask, mung bean milk facial mask, mung bean angelica facial mask, mung bean protein facial mask, mung bean lavender facial mask. Go to the stove to find the stone garlic mortar, wash it clean, and then find a handful of mung beans, wash them and air dry. The weather is nice, and the mung beans and garlic pods will dry quickly. Lin Xiaoran took it back to the small western room. Although there was no table available, there was a windowsill. Start pounding mung beans on the windowsill. End of this chapter.